All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 6 o'clock. Let's get this thing, we got a public hearing first off now, concerning the fiscal budget next year, which David Burr is going to conduct that for us.
At this time, we will call the public hearing on the proposed City of Louisville budget to order. And I'll start by reading the notice of the proposed budget public hearing. The council of the City of Louisville shall proceed with a public hearing regarding the proposed 2023-2024 fiscal year budget for the City of Louisville on Monday, June 12, 2023 at 6 p.m. at City Hall, 6055 Main Street, Louisville. A draft of the proposed budget shall be available for inspection and review at City Hall and on the City of Louisville website beginning June 5, 2023. The date the proposed budget will be submitted to council. The proposed budget shall be submitted to council of the City of Louisville to consider adoption on and after June 19, 2023 at 7 p.m. Persons may appear to be heard during the public hearing. This time we will open the public hearing for public comment. If you wish to make a comment on the proposed budget for the City of Louisville, if you would come forward, please stand at the podium and identify yourself, and then make any public comment that you would like to make. We'll open the floor now for public comment. Anyone wish to be heard with regard to the proposed City of Louisville budget? Going once. Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm Dave Wilson from 5965 Main Street. Something I don't know what I'm supposed to do as far as proposing towards the budget, but Main Street's calendar is just nasty out across the sidewalk. Take a walk from the.
Sir, these are comments. These are comments. This public, hang on just a minute if you don't mind, sir. This public hearing is for the purpose of making comment on the proposed budget for the City of Louisville. There may be opportunities to speak with regard to other matters at citizen comment points in the work session that follows this public hearing. But again, this public hearing is for comment on the proposed City of Louisville budget. Do you wish to make a comment with regard to the City of Louisville budget?
I was just looking at something that should be looked at adding towards that budget, but I'll wait. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment with regard to the proposed City of Louisville budget? Going once? Going twice? Last opportunity if you wish to make a comment on the proposed City of Louisville budget. Or at this time then I will close the public comment and close the public hearing. Mr. Mayor, I will return the meeting to you. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Glad everybody showed up tonight. It's a pretty day today, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. I had to work, but a lot of us did, some of us didn't. It was still a good day. We had a large agenda tonight, so I'm thinking about the kids. We're going to get started, and we really thank you for the blessing of the day. Give us strength, courage, and to make the right decision to see the little. Now, there's a moment of silence, and then we'll have a read through fire. All right, let's pray. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think I said to you last month, on this conduct, a meeting conduct for council meetings. This is a meeting of the city council to direct direct the cities as we think it needs to go and with your input. But during this meetings, we need to stick to the business of the city. It's for the business of the city. Thank you. So we're gonna have public comments during the public comments. We're gonna limit comments to the items on the agenda. We're gonna have 3 minutes, everybody talk. No personal attacks during the public comments, and keep your language clean. If you have a concern that's not on the agenda, contact the member of city council and try to get on the next week's agenda. If there's a form state, that's a form here at City Hall, to get on the agenda. And, so, now, I'll open the floor for citizens' comments. So, when you get, be sure to identify yourself, so we get the name and address in the minutes for the record.
All right, Juliet Tally Roberts. I have 2 concerns. The first one being citizens' comments. I feel like if we are shut down and not allowed to speak about new events or something that you are not aware of that may affect immediate things, that's the same as telling us that we don't count and about the only time we count is during elections, and that's not fair. My second thing is number 13 for Parks and Recs. I want to first of all thank the council for allowing the Historical Society of Lula Belton to use the ballparks for our car show. So far, it looks like we've done better than we've done in past years, and that we'll be able to donate to both charities. But one thing that was brought up to me that was a big concern, and it was a huge embarrassment, especially when I went, was the women's bathrooms. The women's bathrooms, the doors do not come down low enough, and it allows people to see you go to the bathroom. That's not cool. I wanted to bring it up so that maybe we can get it fixed before it becomes a problem with, you know, pedophiles and offenders that might be in our area when events are happening. So that is something, and just so you know, I've already looked at it. There is a solution. All we need to do is move the doors down about 6 to 12 inches. There's plenty of wood to do it.
Thank you. Next. Mordecai? You gonna go next, Mordecai? Can you hear me yet?
Okay, I'm talking about hope for a brighter future. Since the law day is passed, we now have an excellent chance to study and think about how and what we as citizens and our elected city officials, regardless of whatever position they serve, can join together as a team to make this city a better place to work, raise a family, and educate our children and our youth for a future better than ours. After being in World War II, it gave me an excellent chance to travel and see the conditions of how other people live and what hopes they have for making things better for themselves. I was able to travel to the Holy Land, to the Old and the New Jerusalem, also to do volunteer work in Haiti, the 4th country in the Northern Hemisphere, where I worked in the Children's Hospital. This opened my eyes and mind as to how all of us can understand what we can do working together as a team to make a difference and improve Lula. I will not stop coming to city council meetings. I will not stop speaking out about what we can accomplish as a team as we continue to work together. Let all understand that there are 2 kinds of citizens before us. The ones that can discourage you from moving ahead, the one who can inspire you to move forward into a better future. For the rest of my life, I will always be my desire to seek better things for my fellow citizens both today and tomorrow. There were many people who had observed my 50 years of being a foster parent to others from 14 years and older, where the biological parents failed to do these as parents. some of these adolescents have been even committed murder, but people were able to recognize my work and my intent and hope for a better future for every adolescent. When people in high positions, like the governor of Massachusetts, the president of the United States, senators, and secretary of local universities are all were pleased about my life's work. The work my life that I engaged in and the feedback from the people at every level were all very satisfying to me. Most of all is the fact that I continue to hear from these now adults from across the youth who have done well for themselves. I had other citizens only want to hear from our people what they are able to do to accomplish the obvious needs in our community, such as warehouses, light industry, business owners, commercial use, and employment so our city can prosper. Thank you.
We're done.
Joseph Johnson, and I am curious as to why I still haven't gotten a response from the complaints that I have. I also submitted one last month in regards to you violating my First Amendment rights and not allowing me the opportunity to redress my grievances. And the fifth formal complaint that I have in under the city's ethics ordinance states that I will have a response within 7 days by the ethics board, and I still have not gotten a response. So I'm curious as to when or if or what is going on with that.
Pass it on. We'll look into it.
You'll pass what on? I already passed it on. Everybody has it.
We'll look into it.
Okay. And in regards to the invocation request, I still didn't get a response from you or Mr. Cornett.
This is not debate, it's on the agenda. We'll talk about it later. Am I correct?
That's right. Number 9, but I also had a request in, and so I was curious as to what your response was that, since I didn't get a response in email.
I don't have one right now. We'll look into it.
Okay.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Ron.
My name is Roy Hall. I live at 5152 Mountain View Parkway. And I come to you with greetings in the name of the Lord, our Father, Jehovah, and His Son, Jesus Christ. May His blessings be upon you. But I would like to talk about number 8. The citizens' comments obviously has become a big issue. And since I've been coming here, this platform has been used, in my opinion, for inappropriate behavior. So it come to my attention that another city, the city of South Fulton, was having similar problems. So they passed a resolution in regards to public comments, subjections to the city of Fulton, and they passed resolution 2022-029. And I'd like to read some of that if I may. Section 1, Public Comment Guidelines. The City of Fulton County believes that any resident or business owner located in the city limits should be afforded the opportunity to address the mayor or the city council, provided the designated rules are followed by the speaker. Any city of South Fulton resident or business who wishes to address the mayor, the city council, other public comments on any item on the agenda, and may do so during the public comments period of the meeting. Any county, state, or federal elected official shall be allowed to speak regardless of city residence. B, comments shall be limited to 2 minutes per speaker. A bell will signal at the end of each speaker's time. In consideration of each person who are registered to speak, speakers registered to speak, I may add, Speakers shall conclude their comments promptly upon the bell sounding. Speakers who do not promptly conclude their comments shall have their microphone disabled. C, public comments shall be limited to only those items appearing on the city council meeting agenda. Comments on issues, topics not appearing on the city council meeting agenda shall be allowed. Anyone who demonstrates these behaviors shall have their microphone disabled. If necessary, shall be removed from the meeting. Each speaker must complete and submit a request to speak form in its entirety prior to the beginning of the meeting. E, the person or city South Fulton business owners desire to speak should rise and address the city council, recognizing that their name, resident, business, the agenda on which they're addressing. F, all remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any member. To ensure opportunity, G, to assure opportunity for these desiring to speak before the city council, there shall be no yielding of time to any other speaker. H, speakers may not disrupt the council meeting by speaking for too long, by unrepetitious or extending discussion or irrelativeness. Speakers may not employ obscenities or threats of violence in any comments. Anything demonstrates these behaviors shall have their microphone disabled, and if necessary, they shall be removed from the meeting. If he or she refuses to cooperate with such decision, the city of South Fulton Police Department shall escort the speaker out of the meeting, and the speaker shall be banned from the next three public meetings. Speakers shall not be allowed to make remarks that have been legally recognized or not been protected speech. Fighting words, libel, or slanderous comments while addressing the council. Anyone who demonstrates these behaviors shall have their microphone disabled, and if necessary, shall be removed from the meeting. If he or she refuses to cooperate with such decision, the city of South Fulton Police Department shall escort the speaker out of the meeting, and the speaker shall be banned for the next three meetings. Speakers may not use public comments to campaign or political office, either for themselves or on behalf of any other candidates, for the purpose of limiting political influence on the city employees, encouraging orderly, efficient meetings. I, the clerk, shall provide a copy of the rules to each person prior to while they are registering to speak at the city council meetings, and shall keep a copy posted in the council members' chambers in the place where the public can address. I would submit that would be a good idea, and I propose that you adopt this since they are having obviously similar issues. I made 2 copies. I think this would be good resolution for the city to adopt to help keep the meetings civil and not let this platform be a bully pulpit. So I have a copy for you, Mr. Mayor, and a copy for the attorney. Maybe you could make copies and maybe.
Next.
I'll stand right here. My name's Steve Gunner. I live at 5965 Carter Street. First thing I want to talk about, IPC code 14A. There's 10 items on there that don't require a permit, and I hope y'all consider leaving it like that. Some of us like me, I'm retired, I'm on fixed income. I live paycheck to paycheck, which comes the first of the month. I don't have no extra money, but I don't feel like it ought to be up to the city to tell me what I can do on my property. If I want to live in an HOA, I'll sell my property and I'll go move to a subdivision. I have an issue with that. And number 2, instead of the comments on number 8, we don't live in Fulton County. We live in small town living. Myself, I have a lot of health issues. I can't come to every meeting. I don't feel like it ought to have to be on the agenda before I get up to talk. The mayor and the council was elected, and part of their duties is to listen, not silence the people. But I feel like if I can't make it one day, and then I come another day, if it ain't on this agenda, I can't talk about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Next.
Hey, Dave Wilson, 5965 Main Street. First, I'd like to apologize publicly for my name calling on the Legal Citizens website to you and the first lady here. But on the agenda,
I had some,
that's fine, I just wanted to let you know, I feel bad for it. I didn't mean to. Number, it was Carter Alley, it's number 6, I thought it was, Renaissance.
yes.
On the Renaissance, some idea I have as far as Carter Alley goes, trying to leave Carter Alley as a service alley, perhaps trying to turn, how are we gonna set the buildings for Carter? That area, where the backs would face the backs, leave Carter Alley as a service alley, not necessarily as making it a walking path or a sidewalk. That way, businesses can be serviced, the residents rather, and us can be serviced through air conditioning and stuff like that. But have Carter Alley change it to a one-way street on that section of Carter Alley, not a two-way. In light of the garbage can murders that happened over the weekend, I think a one-way street would probably help out. So I guess another car coming up, you can't avoid garbage cans, but if, be a good opportunity to turn Carter Alley itself into an art project. I mean, the alley itself could be painted by the community. We could break it into 12 sections. We could pick once a month, have an art project go on where it could be painted. A section of the 12 sections be painted in a continual rolling fashion once a month. Good place to do a farmer's market because it'd be simple to put gates installed at either end that could be closed and shut temporarily. The road wouldn't create an issue for any fire departments or emergency personnel. And we could also do cornhole tournaments or Foursquare. Any kind of fun. That's the kind of stuff we're looking to bring to this community at our school. That's about all I got. My part on the budget part was I'd like to see something done on the front side of Main Street and the sidewalks. I mean, it hasn't been blown off for 2 years. I've been blowing it off and weeding it myself. But my limited aspects of where I live, I can't carry a backpack blower and store it inside. I can't store it outside because it gets stolen. But my cordless blower don't take care of that sidewalk with all the sand and chicken feathers and cigarette butts and nastiness that piles up on it. The weeds that are growing in such a nice sidewalk looks terrible. A little bit of effort up front.
Thank you, David.
Right.
Appreciate it. Next.
Eric Stewart, 6217 Main Street. Good to see everybody. I'm coming not with a complaint, just with a suggestion I think may help our citizens and also help the council. Looking at number 2, the Art of the Month recipients, we know that occasionally we have the special months where, the people can earn the $100 off their city utility, which I think is an awesome incentive. Me and my wife, we do ride around and look at the arts that win every month. And one thing we did notice last month is we didn't notice a consistency in what we were seeing. So we did ask one of our council members, is there a criteria for the council that you are looking for on these special months? And we were told no, there was no specific criteria. I think it would be beneficial on the special months when they have an opportunity to win the $100 if y'all would put a criteria to let the public know, hey, this month we're looking for flower beds, or this month we're looking for, American flags for if we go with that. That way the council knows what they're looking for when they're going into their districts, and also the citizens would know this is what they're coming for. So, because there are some people that really need that $100 to help with their water bill. And I think it would only be fair to have a specific criteria on those months for our citizens to know this is what my district is going to be looking for, and also helps the district to, when you're riding around picking those yards, that you are looking for specific criteria for those months. So that's just a suggestion I wanted to bring to the council, and thank you for all that each of you do.
Thank you, Gary. Good idea. Anybody else? Okay, I guess we'll get over our minute to our meeting minutes from the notice that from the last session. Everybody's saying we're sure we're on what's money now. We're talking information that came to you. And large month, this is June, and we're still doing preliminary rule. So we're looking for plans. Steve. Step y'all. his, y'all. I hadn't seen mine yet. Only reason I picked one is because we have an empty council seat. Everybody wants to know that I've thrown that duty myself instead of asking somebody else. It's empty council seat, and somebody got to pick the yard about that district. I chose me. Okay, there's what I did. I guess in the past, we did the show your colors.
Right, so that's what I've got up on the screen, so this wasn't a setup, thank you, Eric. But we did this for the last 2 years, show us your colors, and that's a patriotic theme. What would be proposed is you would actually register your property online with pictures, because we love to have pictures and we can promote it. If the council would go forward with that, so that would be for the month of July and August.
Well, spend it this year, huh?
Well, we did it last year, June and July, it ran over with blooming with blue, so.
We'll put that in consideration too. All right, then, I guess it's time to count our money.
Yep. All right, so let's get into the fun part. So I want to talk about the budget for just a minute while I'm handing these papers out. And so David, a little bit to your question. So the budget that's being considered now is operational.
No.
So that means what we do day in and day out. The improvements that can take place on Main Street, well, those will be part of a capital budget that the council have a chance to see. I'll elaborate a little bit more on the budget because I want everybody to understand a little bit more how that works. But first and foremost, we'd like to talk about the rough and ready stuff. And as we sit here today, we recapture funds. We actually have about 13 funds now. But anyway, these are primarily we look at operational funds. So you're going to see some of these numbers not change significantly. However, I say that when you have almost $6.3 million in the bank now, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself on the agenda. But that being said, we actually, for this month, will be doing two things. The council approved this back in December, payoff for the loan as soon as we finalize the GFA loan for the waste treatment plant, and as soon as we finalize sewer line I, and we're doing that as we speak, as it's transferred to the similar amounts percentage that the council had approved. So next week we'll get to see how well everybody pays attention. Those dollar amounts will change next week when we talk about those budgets, which is a good thing. And I'll point out on that particular item, the council's actually saving $120,000 in interest payments for the remaining balance of that loan. So pat yourself on the back. The other item on the fiscal budget submission, so we had, council got to talk about the work sessions, and so we've arrived at, we don't adopt a line item budget, although we use that for reference greatly. So in the general fund, by law, that has to be a balanced fund. In other words, your expenditures have to meet your revenue stream. So that being said, it's become more and more difficult in the process to do that, and I'll tell you why. This year, and y'all have felt it all in your own households, inflation has bit us all in the hind end. We haven't been able to find one particular item that didn't have a minimum of a 7% increase in cost for either materials or operations. And then to the extreme, we had some because of the supply chain issues that were as much as 60% higher. And then I point out for everybody in this room, Georgia Power has recently gotten approval by PSC to increase your rates and ours by 12%, and they're not done yet. Come July, first week of July, they will fuel the next reactor, and they're assured by law that they will get to recapture some of those dollars as well. So, an example for everybody in this room, somehow we're expected to absorb all those dollars. And these are difficult tasks to do. We're very fortunate that we live in North Hall, because from what we've been able to see on the revenue stream is it's been very constant. Let's hope that inflation settles itself and the opportunities for North Hall and Banks County, for that matter, all of North Georgia, Northeast Georgia, continue to prosper. But we've got copies of the budget. You're welcome to look at that. The one thing I stress is the challenge for the council, and I call it pulling rabbits out of your hat. We are out of rabbits. And the idea, the challenge we have by not having all the tools in the toolbox, most everybody in the room recently got their property assessment, and you probably got your property tax bill. Look hard at that and note that the city of Lula doesn't have a property tax. I hope that will continue. It's actually continued for 19 years. I hope that will continue, but I don't see how it's possible when we continue to have the issues that we're having with inflationary costs. So I'm not a proponent of property taxes. I'm just saying if we're going to have the same level of service, the rule that we've applied, and I appreciate the council's look on this, or view on this, if it costs us $1, we have to extend that dollar back to the customer base, because there is no other pot of gold. So bear that in mind. If you've got questions related to the budget, certainly express those. So next Monday, you'll have the opportunity, the first opportunity for the adoption of both the general fund and the utility fund. What I'd say about the utility fund, we've experienced the same challenges there, maybe more so because we've had some equipment purchases. But again, that's a balanced budget. That's what we call an enterprise fund. And fortunately for us, the council was able to balance that budget as well, so it didn't go in arrears. Last thing I'd say is, you already heard me mention the wastewater treatment plant. Loan will be finalized as of Wednesday morning.
Just let me interrupt you just a second. I didn't see the budget on the website.
So we don't publish the budget, we we publish the dollar amount. I'm going by Joey's direction, but we have copies of the budget here and out front.
Because I've had to ask me that, and I thought it not.
Yeah.
I'm not misheard.
Actually, I'll show you one I can put up with the council's approval. This is an example. This gives some description of some of the things we just talked about. And then with that, I can show the line item we have with that. The only thing I remind everybody, we don't adopt a line item budget, we adopt a whole budget per revenue fund.
I didn't have some people ask me.
They're welcome to have it. There's, like I said, there's copies up front.
They're up front.
Yep, but I can, if that's okay with you, I'll post that with the description on it as well.
You don't mind.
Yeah, it's on the budget amounts are on there already, so I'll just add that to that page.
Anybody want, anything else about that? All right, let's go to the next thing.
We do have one item, investment policy, which we talked to the finance committee about. There's a good opportunity right now for investment. We will come back next Monday with a dollar amount. The idea is to be able to park some of that money for a period. I think the discussion with the finance committee was an amount not to exceed 11 months. And like I said, I mean, this year as an example, with the movement of the interest rates, we were able to capture a significant amount of dollars. And if that money's being reserved for a short period of time, 11 months, it can pay great dividends.
Okay, water sewer.
So, Belton Ridge, as you know, Belton Ridge water line extension design is underway. Hopefully, we'll have something by the end of the month. Bid results for the Chattahoochee tank, I'll be going over that with the utility committee so we can report back next Monday. I think if I haven't copied everybody on it, I will. We just want to hear the comments from the utility committee. And then it says waiting tabulation, I actually have that. This one I printed this Friday. Victoria Lane well pump replacement. Fortunately, we had the foresight to have a backup pumps on that particular well as we do on Oconee.
Bad news is we're having some issues with operations. The pump's running fine. It's more of an operational situation. So we think by tomorrow morning that'll be resolved. Consumer confidence report. So that's an annual report that's required in the system, the water system. That's available and we posted as early as tomorrow on our website as well. And I'd encourage everybody to look at that. We're fortunate in that our well system produces some great water. And when I say great water, in other words, the requirements of filtration versus lake water are significantly different. I hear people brag on our water all the time. Well, it's because a couple of things take place. One, we're drawing our water from sometimes as much as 400 foot deep, and it brings a lot of mineral content, which gives you that great flavor. We hardly have to chlorinate the water, and then we hardly have to filter that water because it's so pure to begin with. So take a look at those consumer confidence report if you're ever interested in it. We have to use some language in there that always addresses the needs of the state of Georgia, which sometimes lead us astray. Generator repair. I think all y'all got the email on that. I know you're all excited about. So we have, our plant is right at 12 years old, and we have a radiator on that particular generator has run about 1,400 hours. That's, for those in the audience and for the council, very little runtime. We actually operate that generator under load every week because you got to make sure it works when you need it. So the 1,400 plus hours that we have on it really reflects all that runtime as we're testing the unit. The idea, it's like a big diesel engine on a tractor trailer. So the idea that we'd have an issue with the radiator at this early in its lifetime is very concerning to me because we can't understand why we would have failure. The problem will be twofold. One is the cost of replacement. Brand spanking new, it's a Cumming diesel unit, is $19,000. Ouch. The other side of this, can it be repaired, and can it be repaired in place? Because we have to have the availability of that generator 24/7. Well, obviously, it can't be down for a great extended period of time. So we actually are seeking to see if we can't get an on-site repair rather than a full replacement. So that'll be something that, again, we'll get a chance to talk to the utility committee about a little bit more in depth. But for everybody, including the audience, that's one of those, oops, we wish we weren't recognizing that, but we appreciate the council's efforts. If it breaks, we fix it. This is just, we're going to look for the best alternative with related to operations as well. Any questions you might have on water and sewer?
Comprehensive plan.
So that's been approved. As you know, you saw the product last month that's sent to the Department of Community Affairs. They have approved that. We've acknowledged that last month with your resolution. So that also will be available on the state website as well.
Yeah. Conrad.
All right, so at the council's direction for Carter Alley, we had a public hearing already on that to look at some conceptual ideas, and we'll continue to have those. That being said, the council directed me to contact some design architects who could help us and help the council, and the idea was to bring them under contract with the city. And if I remember right, Mr. Mayor, you wanted that to come back to the Finance Committee. So we have interviewed 4 architecture firms. Ironically, I say ironically, we have only received 2 proposals. So if we wait much longer, Gene and I both have to shave our beard again. I mean, it's just, I know everybody's busy, but this has went on far too long. I think the 2 companies that submitted are well worth looking at, and I poked everybody in the hind end today, to remind them that they were gonna give us submittals. Well, some of those submittals are over 30 days old, and we still haven't got them, so, you know, do we want to go back to the finance committee and let them see what we've got in hand and go? If I remember correctly, y'all wanted to do the initial interviews and then, let us do the initial interviews and then, you know, communicate what you had proposed from the work session, and then, let y'all sit down and talk with each of the design architects, is that right?
Yeah.
Yep, so if that's still the case, I mean, everybody who's submitted the offer, if we could do that the week after next, I'll propose a date so we can meet their schedule as well. How's that?
Wait, the 19th or 26th?
26. And let's see what they, you know, they can accommodate as well. I'm sure y'all would like to knock it out at one venture if it's possible.
Dennis, would you entertain sending me a list of the companies?
Oh, sure.
in contact? I'll send you an email.
Yeah, no, you don't do that, I'll send it out, but, the frustrating part is, like I said, everybody's busy, not to have gotten proposals from everybody's discouraged.
Yes.
And everybody expressed a true interest in the project.
The IGA.
So, the only changes, y'all had already approved the IGA. We made you aware of the changes that were specific to the city of Lula. Jody, at confidence, wanted to come back and just revisit that, so you'll take a new position, or you'll reaffirm your position on that Monday night if that goes forward with the council. David, is that the way you understood that as well?
Yes, in principle, the new version is the same as the old one, there's just some additional detail in there.
Right.
But I think Mr. Holman feels like it needs to be reaffirmed, just so you're good with that.
Was there additional detail regarding what Lula was presenting? That stayed the same.
Right. Well, what we had proposed was, in general, and I can pull it up, if you remember, we were specific to say that we had 82 streets that might see improvements, and that we laid out each one of those rather than name each street individually.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna find similar language with all the other cities as well. Some were more specific for specific projects that they had, but other than that, so I'd like to say the dollar amount changed, it didn't. But opportunity still wheels itself.
Request for the address citizen comments procedure.
I'd like to ask, the next Monday night, the city council be able to vote if we keep these new rules that the mayor has put in, or if we go back to let the citizens have their own comments. I don't think we live in South Fulton, don't think we need South Fulton rules. So I'm asking next Monday night we be able to vote.
Okay. You have a vote in mind or something specific in mind?
To put it back to where the citizens will have the right to comment and not be told what to comment on. Do you have a problem with that?
We need to sit in writing, so it's no specific what we're voting on, so somebody's not got a right to it.
Okay.
That's all I said. I mean, we can't vote on something, just say, we'll do it this way.
Okay, I get it.
I got no problem at all. I don't know if Joey wants to address that or.
I have no information I can give you. I think you have to just address that to Mr. Holman.
That's right.
Sure.
Okay, implication policy. That's another thing we're going to consider too. If everybody sends a copy of what Joey presented.
I think that item goes all the way back to April. Tangi and I were talking about it earlier. We'll make sure that we resend that out with the full policy, so there's, it's not something we have commented on internally.
Okay. And the other part,
So the good news is we replaced the VFD at $2,688. The bad news is everything else is a hiccup down there. If you hadn't seen it, we've got it up and running during the day. It's, you know, the advancement of technology just drives me nuts. Because the VFD works independently of the control panel, at least this new one does, and it's Bluetooth connected. The problem with that would be is the control panel isn't Bluetooth access. So anticipate it will continue to run during the day just like this. It's running great. Matter of fact, better than it has been in years past. And hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have the engineering side of it so the two units can communicate. But right now, we're running during the daylight hours. And everybody's enjoying it, no doubt.
we're discussing committee meetings.
Amen.
Several of us.
Y'all want to stay a minute after we get done today and see if we can't nail those down with everybody?
We got the HR and utilities, park and rec,
And finance.
and zoning.
Yeah, we got to do those. I don't, that's kind of that problem.
Okay, and also next time now, we're going to do the public hearing for 60 Carter Street to decrease the size of the minimum heating size from 1,400,000 square feet per 4 units of the building. We've heard public hearings on that, so we vote on that.
Did we receive any other information from the developer on that? I know that they had indicated here in one of our previous sessions last month that they were working with the citizens that were in close proximity to that. Do we have any privilege?
I don't have any additional information, but I'll inquire. I'll ask the same question.
Sure. Oh, you know, if there's some other proposal that may be coming, that we be aware of that.
Proposed annexation rezone 653 Cameron Road. All county said no.
Yeah, so the council will have an opportunity to address that a little bit later as well, or not. They want what we call a bona fide objection, and there's a process to dispute resolution, be able to address, and we'll have that conversation a little bit later about how that might work. But I have some great reading on 87 pages. It's
I've read
like
it.
fall asleep at night. It's one of those things where you wonder what you started and why you started.
And we didn't start it.
Right.
And the rezoning out on, City Highway, 50 acres.
Right, so the only thing that I remind the council, state in their infinite wisdom changed the zoning requirements. So now you have to publish property for rezoning a minimum of 30 days in advance. So this is a good example, this particular application, when we received it versus when our committee meets versus when the council meets, and meeting that 30-day window. And couple that with the newspaper that, you know, doesn't publish daily any longer, so you're restricted to those. Consequently, Mr. Holman's addressed that this item would not be heard in July. There's another reason for that. July 4th falls, that's the first Tuesday of the month. That would have to be moved to the 11th, and then the separation of the 30 days moves that particular item, number 15, into August. Did I say that right, Sabrina?
And, that part was already in the city, is that correct?
That particular parcel is, yes.
All three of
There's
them.
actually 3 parcels, right?
So it's just a rezoning of city properties, not.
Correct. Mr. Mayor, I know, not intentionally, because it's such a fun subject, but I don't think we talked about item 12.
Yeah,
That's all, it's easy for me to miss too.
I thought that was the meeting, I said.
Yeah, we had a gentleman call last week and had proposed a revival for any 5-day period of time. And he initially proposed the depot. And it's hard for us to find a date in October that we don't have the depot booked, run into the weekends. And then I know previously we did, the council considered a revival. This isn't the same gentleman. Last September, I think it was. And y'all had allowed them to use the ball field at no cost. So we need a little direction from the council. We certainly can take that to committee. We're just trying to nail dates down and what would be acceptable by the council.
This ball field, when they get the ball field, is it Sunday to Saturday, or is it?
Again, that's up to y'all. They just need 5 days in a row.
I know we also have, fall festival that typically occurs.
Yeah, we
during
already
that
talked to
time.
them about what dates wouldn't be available.
Okay.
So they were fine with that. And I think the fall festival is the last weekend in September. if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. Y'all had recently.
September the 30th, yes.
Okay, so let's go, a committee meeting.
Yeah, I would recommend going ahead and having a Parks and Rec committee meeting. And I would ask that we include what Juliet Tally Roberts had mentioned regarding the women's restroom.
Yeah, we're addressing that. We got a call earlier today with the same concern,
Okay.
and we're gonna address that. That's something, we can take care of that. I think the restroom, somebody told me, they're 27 years old. I think that's the original door, but we can address that easily enough in the morning.
Okay, we're down to 16 where we are.
Did you want to run through 13, zoning planning, adoption of amendment to international building code?
Let's go back to the meeting. When the voice.
That would, go back to committee with y'all's direction.
Can't go back to the,
Mike, I'll be glad to provide you with some additional information. I know there were some citizens that spoke tonight regarding that, and then also I've received several phone calls and emails. So I definitely want to provide you guys with some additional information as you discuss those.
I appreciate it. Listen, hold up now. Thank you. I thought, I saw that, I thought that was already going to committee, it's one of the, well, one that's strong. And
I
they
think
can't
you-
get back to the.
Sure, I think you've gone down to, what was it, 14? Did we cover 14 county line?
Yeah.
Cole County, okay.
We got 16.
Right, so we just want to make sure, we're going to be, we are going to have a committee meeting regarding that as well, regarding possible response.
You're gonna get to talk about that shortly, a little bit later this evening.
Okay. Thank you.
Planning commission meeting's got to be rescheduled to July 11th because of working holiday. The Hall County proposal to change the animal control agreement, which we have an idea with them, is that correct?
Right, so I'll remind the council, had a lot of correspondence on those particular items, the changes to their ordinance. You have an agreement with Hall County in your service delivery agreement for animal control. When they amend their animal control components and the different ordinances that they have, in order to maintain our service agreement with them, we, as well as the other municipalities, have to change as well. So you got, I know Joey copied y'all on the action of Hall County. They've adopted all the changes. We'd hope there might be a little bit more dialogue. That dialogue window's closed. So we would put that on the agenda at Joey's recommendation, I believe, his last email, Sabrina. That was his recommendation to adopt. Yep, June 19th.
Either right around, get your own dog catcher. One or the other.
You have that option available.
Okay, Kelly Tours, they used to be down here at Daniels for a while. They came to Savannah, if I remember right.
Right.
We're building, new building up in Mountain Center Plaza. 5271, about these address. But, they're having a river trip tomorrow morning. What time?
So it's from 11 to 1:30, I believe. So I'm not sure what time the ribbon cutting is. I gave an inquiry last week, and I don't think I got Did, the young lady, when she came in last week, Candy, were you here? Anyway, she jokingly, that was originally, it was gonna be a little thing, now it's become a big thing. But I'll make sure everybody, I'll send you all a text message in the morning reminding you, attend. We had a great turnout, for the new chiropractor this past week. And those are a big deal. Mountain View Park is slowly but surely, filling up with tenants. So we're very fortunate to continue to bring in new business. Yes, we do. Boards it, distribution.
The Blue Ladies have a bicycle ride across the road. They're hosting a pit stop, for lack of a better term, I guess, a rest stop. And for the riders, what was the total turnout? Did you get it, John?
Well, there were 900 bikers part of that ride.
Oh, sorry.
And they started from Clayton. Then they went to Clarksville. Then when they left Clarksville, we were the third rest stop on Monday. And they were a wonderful group of people. They were so gracious for everything. They thought the depot was absolutely beautiful. Loved the caboose. We had photo ops with the antique truck. We had a photo op. They could have their picture made with the caboose. It was a fun time. Tony brought music. Debbie Smith. We had entertainers. They said, we're never going to forget.
Yeah, they were awestruck.
Many of them came in.
They were
And
that.
it was really funny because, all I know to do is bring out the tablecloths and things I use for little ladies because we've never been, I know about this group, but I've never been part of see what goes on behind the scenes. So, kudos for Tony's sound system. Debbie Smith made probably, 25 calls just to find out what we were supposed to do. Others came in, a great team that helped with all the prep. Because they bring the food, but you gotta prep those little peanut butter sandwiches.
Did y'all, that was your recipe though, wasn't it?
That was one of our little ladies, Blue Day, gets credit for that, because she brought them one day, and instead of having a peanut butter jelly sandwich, you have peanut butter jelly mixed up. You take a rolling pin and flatten down the bread. So don't you want to thank those ladies that rolled all that bread? Now, piece by piece. And then you slap that peanut butter jelly on there instead of, the man had told us that you could just fold it over. And that's what he told Debbie. He said, you can fold it over. And she says, okay, we know how to do roll-ups too, PJ roll-up. He didn't say anything about roll-ups. 2 weeks later, he called Debbie and he says, you know what? If y'all do those roll-ups, that's something we'll never forget about Louisville. So would y'all please do those roll-ups? Graciously, this team rolled up those, and we even had some sprinkled with powdered sugar and cinnamon sugar. That was a big hit. So they said, we'll never forget this town. So thank you for that team, because we really didn't know what we were doing or getting into.
And I think if you look around the room, you'll see a lot of faces that were down there.
Yes.
Helping.
Yes.
It wasn't just little ladies.
No, it was not.
Some
It was
attractive
marvelous.
men too.
Yes. It was, in fact, if you were involved in that at all, would you raise your hand? What'd you say? If you were involved in that, Debbie, raise your hand.
Debbie, raise your hand.
Eric, raise your hand.
We had many from Historical Society, Little Ladies, and just the community, at whole. It was a proud moment. I think it was something very good that we could do for them.
I don't think
It
they'll
changed the
ever forget
routes.
Lula.
No, in fact, they really laughed because, all I know is we put the little ladies' tablecloths on the tables in the depot. And what they loved about it is they said these cushiony seats that you have in the depot, we've been riding on those bikes just to sit for a few minutes in your cushy seats. So remember, we have cushy seats in the depot. And they said, we've never been served on cloth tablecloths before. So it was very fun. It was a fun day. Proud moment, I think.
Okay, y'all's meeting is, when is it? Next week. That's what's on the agenda, 28th.
Just double check everything.
Yeah, I just went by what Teresa did.
No, not since we got the next.
Yeah.
It's 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Today's the
Yeah,
20th.
that's 28. Fourth Monday.
June 28th, that's correct.
At noon for lunch and 6:30 for supper.
And all are welcome, and got any questions, come see me.
Great food. And clean body, right? Okay, the Louisville Development Society meets the fourth Monday of the month, which is 2 weeks from today, is that correct? 26th?
Yes.
And that's up to depot at 7 o'clock. And due to July 4th holiday, next month's garden collection, this is for the Tuesday, because the Monday's still gonna be on Monday, is that correct, Dennis?
That's gonna be fun to communicate, isn't it? So, the third, they pick up just like normal. If your pickup's on Tuesday, your pickup will be Wednesday. So we're gonna use Text My Gov, what a lead in for that, isn't it?
That nice.
Yes, sir.
Is anybody hasn't done that, take the word Lulu to 91896, and you'll receive text messages from the city of Lulu. Emergency text. I think we were trying to spotlight a little more use with it. It's not just emergency.
We don't want to bore you to death with it, but.
We're playing with it.
Right.
Like this water thing.
Right.
We got to it, y'all. So, before we go into executive session, we're going to do comments. And then we're going to executive session. So we got citizen comment for you guys.
Marilyn Greer, 6641 Main Street. Mr. Mayor, I know I'm not on the agenda. I know you don't even see me up here many times speaking. But this is actually, I'm going to commend you on something, an action tonight, that I want to thank you for, from the bottom of my heart. Maybe, I know my heart was burdened, and maybe your heart was burdened because of the action you took tonight. I don't ever want to leave the city hall feeling like we have disrespected. Well, let me just say, I was raised, and probably you were too, in a home that I was taught to respect elders. Okay? That's the bottom line. Respect elders. When, a couple of weeks ago, if you attended, you know what I'm talking about. I never want to go to sleep the night I attend a little meeting that I feel like we have disrespected someone that's 98 years old and is one of our, maybe, I don't know, oldest citizens. I want to thank you tonight. I know he wasn't on that agenda. Everybody knows in this room he won't come to it. I want to believe that maybe your heart was of how it went down before. And I want to thank you for giving him a few moments. We know it wasn't on the agenda, but I don't think that's what Mordecai's about. You know, I'm 70. I feel like I've gained some wisdom in my life. At 98, he's gained a lot of wisdom. I hope at 98, in fact, if you go to his home, and if you, one day I looked at him and I said, you sure have a lot of legal pads around you. For those of you that know me, I've taught school for 30 years. I know about legal pads. I have a lot of them. And I thought, he's 98 years old. I said, boy, so many yellow legal pads for him. He says, well, when I sit in my recliner, I think. And I reflect and I ponder. And that's how I come up with what I want to say for Lou. And I went, wow. I said, I hope when well, this was a few years back, so this was before he was a little bit younger. I said, I hope when I get your age that I even have thoughts in my head that I can ponder and reflect. So I want to thank you for your conduct tonight. We all know he wasn't on the agenda, but you didn't. And you did it in a very kind and respectful way. And I just want to thank you for that. And I hope, I mean, is there anybody, I don't know, these is just likes to lay things out on the table. If someone bothers you, just lay it out on the table. I just have to ask you, is there anybody in this room that it bothers you if Mordecai wants to just say a few motivational things? I don't even think he should be under citizen comments, because it is no religion. We all know that. Let's just be real here, and we know. Would you let me know right now if it bothers you? If I don't even care if you put down there, don't put. He doesn't have to be under citizens' comments. He could be more now. Yeah, but I think, was anybody else burdened by that? Was I the only one that my heart was just like, we can't be doing this to somebody, our elderly. That just, there's an amount of respect. Raise your hand if you don't have any problem with him doing a motivational speech. It's just a few moments. It's been bothering me, and I just wanted to say it, and I thank you for letting me, I'm certainly not on the agenda, but thank you for how you conducted that tonight. To me, it just, I think you did it. I really did.
Anybody else? I guess it's time to start council comments.
All right. So I just want to say, thank you all for coming out and being in support of our city. Just as mentioned earlier, the bicycle ride across Georgia, that really was a fantastic event. And I'll tell you, Debbie Smith is extremely hardworking. I know she's sitting back there. She was taking photos. I want to thank her for that. I know she enlisted me. She grabbed me. She said, I need you to come over here and make Powerade. I have never made so much Powerade in my life. And it didn't take long, because what were these, like 10 gallon, I don't know, 8 gallon containers at a time. But it was just a really fun event. And one of the things that, sticks in my mind, I enjoyed, providing sound, for the entertainers that volunteered. I know Amber Brock came from Liberty Baptist. She was, phenomenal. Jesse Kimbrell, local singer-songwriter. She had a song that she sang. It's called 5 Pounds of Possum in My Headlights Tonight. But it was just a really cute song, and I really enjoyed that. And then Elaine Bergman also sang, pop songs. It was just a fantastic time. Kind of want to tag on to what Marilyn was just mentioning with Mordecai. I know that we have, the Lula Ladies. We've got the Lula Belton Historical Society. I think that's a fantastic idea, Marilyn, that we have a Mordecai's Minute, Mordecai's Moment. I know several had, mentioned that to me. I know Ian Erwin had also mentioned that, Mordecai's Moment. So I would just, pitch that over to the rest of the council as we, meet this coming week. I know we talked about addressing citizens' comments. That may be something that we can put in there along with the draft that we can vote on for next week. Yeah, so I just want to thank you again. I'm very glad that you're all here. Thank you so much.
I appreciate everybody coming and getting coming. The crowd is a little bit planned tonight. We hope to pray that we get more people out here. Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you for everyone who come. Crowd looks a lot better than it did last time. Feeling cheered down next. Thank you. And I definitely agree on the Mordecai.
I'm going to thank y'all for coming, and I'm going to take a motion to executive session.
Second.
Motion made by Chief Bryan, set of our schedule for executive session, on Thursday night. Executive session. We don't know what's going to happen, but y'all can hang around if we come out of it, or I'm not expecting any results, but I don't know for sure.
So I've been somebody sent me a text tomorrow, Kelly Tours, it's from 11 to 2.
I heard Dan. I'll go executive session.
minutes, if I can run everybody off. That, if you stay away.
How about a hug instead?
Got me a lot of trouble.
I don't think all you want to hang around and bear with us. We made no decision during executive session, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Jim Brown, second by Garnet Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
You know what that means? We get to go.